Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're back and today I'm going to be installing brand new Wilwood disc brakes on my 1970 Ford Mustang. If you guys are new viewers out there and this is your first time stopping by, I do invite you to subscribe, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and without further ado, let's get right into today's video. As far as parts are concerned, we have the 4-piston calipers for the rears. We have this drilled and slotted directional rotor. We have brand new stainless steel braided brake lines. We have a brake bleeder kit. We have the drum brake assembly that retains the factory parking brake. We have some brake parts cleaner. We have some synthetic DOT 3 and 4 brake fluid. We have some rear axle seals. We have a flasher for the hazard lights because those don't presently work. And this is for an upcoming video. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Yeah, no, she is not happy. Yeah. Alrighty. That awkward moment when. And in my defense, I did whatever. She does have her own fucking quirks. I did end up taking a fuse out, so. Alrighty, so I pretty much center the car off so that we can pull the rear wheels off and start accessing the rear brakes. I am assuming that I'll be able to get everything off in time and back on in time to be a halfway decent person to my roommates, but that's subject to change. It's been a few days since I've actually ran the car, so I'm gonna let her run, heat up, do her thing, get to temperature, and then I'll turn her off and we'll start the actual video. I'm happy to report that she's not making any funny noises. We open up the engine bay, I'll show you what I mean. Although there is some smoking as she is leaking from a valve cover. There's a leaky valve cover and it's leaking directly onto the headers there. So there's a little bit of smoke protruding from the engine bay. Yeah, I mean, you can smell, it's quite literally oil burning. So yeah, that sucks. But that's the only place where it is leaking oil. That's not the worst day in the world. As long as she's leaking oil and burning oil, you know that she has oil in her. With the car properly jacked up, I'm gonna start taking the wheels off. All right. Come here, you gotta see this. So the inside of the wheel well is in pretty good condition, all things considered the age. Although it does look like somebody got busy painting in here. We're gonna have to pull this off and open up this assembly. I'm pretty sure it just pops off. Kind of a clear indication that this probably wasn't working all that well to begin with. Didn't do anything to loosen this. It really just pulled off by hand. So that's cool. So with the drum brake cover off, I'm gonna start the disassembly of this. You don't have to take these springs off and stuff. You can just take off the bolts, the 4 bolts that are in this backing plate, and it'll pop off. Okay, so I have the drum brake released from the backing plate. It's able to move freely around the cabin. Also, the axle is loose as well. I haven't yet attempted to really pull it out. I need to disconnect the brake lines from the rear of the backing plate, but once I do that, I'll pull this assembly off, replace the axle seal, start installing the new rear brake. It's the next day and we are going to continue wrenching on my 1970 Mustang. I'm also likely going to get some valve cover gaskets if they're available, just because I don't want this valve cover leaking any more than it already is. And I'm not sure if it's apparent, but you can see where it has been leaking onto the header. I mean, this bolt is completely covered in oil. We will be replacing these valve cover gaskets. Alrighty guys, so I went to O'Reilly's first and then Home Depot. So from O'Reilly's, I got some new valve cover gaskets. I also got some thread locker for the caliper bracket. I got some high temp gasket maker. I have some gloves because I'm gonna be cutting metal on the axle. I also have some zip ties to zip tie off the wiring that's in the engine bay by the radiator. And I have some obviously shears that I plan to be making the cuts for. These are aviation shears, so I should be able to cut through the gasket that is presently on the axle, not pictured. Alrighty, so I'm gonna try to just cut this off. It should be pretty straightforward. Yeah, these things are not. I don't know if these are good enough. This is a pretty thick gasket. So I'm driving down PCH. I'm headed to my buddy's house because I bought an oscillating tool so that I can cut off those axle flanges because the aviation shears did not work as well as I intended them to. Alrighty guys, so I have a oscillating tool, and the plan is that I can just cut through the flange. Alrighty, so I have the flange cut off, and I did go ahead and wipe the extra metal shavings off. So we're gonna start the installation of the axle back into the axle tube. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to get all of this gunk off and stuff. So yeah. Alrighty guys, so I have this bearing kit. In this case, I'm not driving a bearing, I'm driving a seal. So I will unbox this and start driving the seal the rest of the way in there so that it's properly seated and we can reinstall the axle. If you think about it, this thing was designed to be pounded. So you just stick it in and you pound away. And you can feel around on the inside and there's no gap at all. We know that that's properly seated. Just one more for good measure. Yeah, that thing is in there. Alrighty, very cool. We're gonna get the axle. We're gonna get a little bit of lube around the bearing. We're gonna insert the axle into the axle tube. Some gear oil. I'm just gonna lube the spline. Not a bad idea to coat the spline. Gear oil. Again, this is GL5. Want to make sure that she's nice and lubricated. You insert her back into the axle tube. Additionally, we're gonna put some lube down here on this bearing. We have some multi-vehicle high temp red grease. Go ahead and wipe the excess off. I'll get some gloves on and insert this axle into the axle tube. So I'm happy to report I was able to complete the install on the passenger side. It did take quite a bit of finessing for this passenger side rear axle, but after a brief session with my hammer, my claw hammer, I was able to get it into place and it's no longer a problem with how it spins or any of that. You can see it spins freely and there's no clearance issues whatsoever. I haven't really buttoned up this side yet. I'm going to. But first, I want to start on the driver's side of the vehicle, getting that axle out, getting the flange off of the axle, and everything that we did on this passenger side. So I'm going to time lapse it, and I hope you guys enjoy. Got the driver's side axle out. We're gonna cut the flange off and pull out this axle seal that's right in there, because this axle seal is leaking quite a bit and it's in dire need of replacement. So yeah, let's get to it. This crap out of here. And admittedly, I'm just probably gonna time lapse this one because I gotta cut this bad boy off. So I'll get the time lapse going. So my blade is spent on my oscillating tool, so I have to go get another blade because, yeah, this one's not serviceable. It's gonna snap and stab me in the eye or something. By the way, wear eye protection. I don't personally have any right now, but it's never too late to get some. So yeah, I'm gonna go to Home Depot and get another blade, cut this the rest of the way off. So I removed the driver's side rear axle seal, and this seal was bad before I even touched it. This is all gear oil that has been leaking out for God knows how long. But nonetheless, I did go ahead and jack up the driver's side of the rear differential just to slow the flow of gear oil that's leaving it, because while the car is jacked up, it's not slightly unleveled, or it's not level rather. You can see this side is higher than this side. So I did go ahead and jack it up, and it has slowed the flow of said gear oil. All right, so we're here at Home Depot. I'm gonna have to grab some oscillating blades, and then we'll get back to this nifty install. And side note, my hands aren't that dirty today. They have been a little dirtier recently, but I tried to wear gloves at least today, and they're not as bad as they usually are, so pretty happy about that. Dude, $50 fucking. I really only need one. Well, $25 later, we have another blade. Thing is, I really like getting my money back on stuff, but I'm definitely not getting my money back on this. Also, we have the opposite of the O.J. Simpson's getaway vehicle right here. Pretty clean. It's almost criminal how expensive these blades are. Walked out of there $25 later. So, open this bad boy up and put it on my oscillating tool. That should be everything. I think I did just cut through it all the way. So it should just fall right off. And another one bites the dust. Try not to breathe this shit in, huh? Storage of my tools and stuff has really just been on top of this mattress the last few days. This bearing's definitely seen some better days. Look at that. That is, it's pretty rusty. Probably gonna have to replace this passenger side or this driver's side bearing in the future, just given that there's some various nicks and stuff on it. But it should be serviceable for what we need it to be today. So now we're gonna start assembling this bearing driver set. Today we're going to be using the 59mm bearing driver. It's not the worst idea in the world to clean out this axle tube, so we're going to clean it out before we drive the new axle seal in. Really just shop rags and cleaning out this lip, because she's a dirty girl. A little bit of brake cleaner, and really just on the edge. You don't want to spray into the axle tube with brake cleaner. It's not a good business plan. So there's a little lip on the inside here. Just don't get past this lip. You just want a nice clean surface for where we're going to be putting our new seal. You want to make sure that it's seated properly. Oh no. Oh, fuck, guys. I fucked up. I put it in the wrong way. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Alrighty. Well, scared the shit out of myself. There we go. There's a little lip on the inside. You'll feel when the seal can't go any further, like I have just now. She's in there. Alrighty, so the new seal is all the way in. We're gonna grab the backing plate that uses the drum brake assembly. We're gonna place it on here and we're gonna start the installation of the driver's side disc brake. Make sure that this is properly on there, like so. Get a couple of T-bolts through here. Two right here. Alrighty, so the axle's in. I'm removing the nuts that are holding on the backing plate so that I can insert bearing retention plate, which is in one of these boxes I'm currently digging through off camera. This should really just slide right up in here and it'll keep the bearing in place as we're traveling down the road. So we cut off the stock one, and when we replaced the axle back into the axle tube, this is what's going to be keeping the axle in the axle tube. With the axle retention plate in place, it's time to install this rotor. So I have installed the brake pads, ran the new stainless steel lines on both sides of my Mustang. And you can see it's pretty uniform with how I have it set up. The very last step is I'm going to bleed the brake system. Now, it's very important to only use these top bleeder screws. If you use the bottom screws, you may introduce air into the system. There's a bleeder screw on this side, and then there's a bleeder screw on this side. For the last part of this install, we're going to be bleeding the brakes. I have everything all the way tightened up except for the bleeder screws. I have this handy-dandy brake bleeder kit that I got from O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and we're going to get under the car and start working on getting this thing all the way bled so that we can take this on a test drive. You want to start with the brake that is the furthest from the master cylinder. In my case, the master cylinder is under the hood and the driver's side front. So we're going to be bleeding this passenger side rear caliper first. So the car is running, the brakes are installed, but there's one small problem. My brake lines are old and cracked. And so, although the new lines are fitted and stuff, it's leaking brake fluid everywhere, which means that I need to get new lines. But we'll get a look at the brakes again. This line is fine on this side. However, the actual stainless steel on this portion of it is broken. So what I might end up doing is replacing the passenger side brake line, the passenger side hard line, and then replacing the driver's side stainless steel braided line. I might contact CJ Pony Parts to see if I can just send it back, because it is a faulty line, and I did just open it out of the box today. And then on this side, you can see it's leaking fluid from right here. There's a divot of and a dent where fluid is leaking out of and right onto the ground. So it's not even making it to the caliper. This video was made possible from viewers like you, as well as CJ Pony Parts, AutoZone, and O'Reilly's. This video is not sponsored, but I do appreciate everybody's support, and we're gonna be putting out more Mustang content in the near future. That's gonna do it for another video. I wanna thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you guys are new viewers out there and this is your first time stopping by, I invite you to subscribe. Next on this Mustang, we're gonna have to get new brake lines. And really, I think it's just one brake line that goes from the front to the rear. And yeah, I mean, we need a new one because it's cracked on the passenger side. So it's completely unserviceable. I'm redlining this vehicle and it will not be dispatched until I replace that brake line, as well as the auxiliary brake lines to the actual calipers themselves. Once I do that, I should be able to bleed it, get fluid in the system, get pressure in the system, and then actually be able to stop when I'm going down the road. But nonetheless, they do look really, really good. You can see the Wilwood peeking through there to the wheels. And over here on this side, you should be able to see it as well. Yeah, right there, peeking on through those wheels. So very happy with the install, very happy with how it turned out, and honestly with how it looks. But form is not over function here. We need this to be able to work all the way. So until next time, I hope you guys have a good day and or night wherever you may find yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.